Go a little bit quick here, and we'll talk real estate. It's almost time for some drinks, right? Scotch 30, he says. Very, very good. Rebecca, can you turn that one light on? I want to show a bunch of pictures of houses. It's the light all the way to the far left, I believe it is. Again, my name is Andrew. I own a company called Financial Momentum. It's our educational company, but we're full-time real estate investors. I am doing 38 buy, fix, and sells right now at the same time in Chicago. In May, we did buy 131. That is too dark. I will go to sleep. While I'm talking, I'll actually fall asleep. So I know you guys are going to go to sleep. I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to teach you what we do, basically. Okay? I'm not going to teach you what I read about, or what I heard someone else do, or what I thought was a good idea, but I don't do. They teach you what they thought would be a good idea. I teach you what we're really doing. I teach you live concepts of exactly how we do that. We'll talk a little bit about business strategy, how we run this as a business. I stopped doing one deal at a time a long time ago, and I went into full-time real estate business, which led into really where my real wealth began, was when I started running as a business. I'll tell you a little bit of steps of how we did that, and I'll show you the formula that we used. Okay? If you guys have questions, feel free to jump in, ask. This is a real estate education, so we can learn as much as we can, as fast as we can. And Linda, it's about 1 hour 15. Is that what we have here? So I'm going to go a little bit fast. If you ask a question that I'll cover later, then I'll try to skip over that, and we'll just keep going here, all right? Any questions so far? I am giving a house away in Chicago at Tim Heritage's Expo, if you are going to that. We're giving away a house free and clear on Sunday night at 4 p.m. In Chicago if you're there for that one as well. All right, so here's sort of the, can you get rid of these lights right here? Is that possible? Yeah. Just keep playing around with it, I'll keep moving. I love your shirt, by the way. What is your name? What's your name?
My name's Bill.
I saw you in the magazine, right? Were you in the Realty 401? I knew I saw him from somewhere, and it wasn't the face, it was a shirt that I recognized. Very good. So here's what we're covering today. Leave your job in 1 year, retire in 5. 5 years. This is what I did. I'm going to show you the steps of how I did it. I'm going to show you from probably a bird's eye view, not in deep depth of it, but I'll show you the bird's eye view of how I accomplished that. And we'll go through the exact steps of what it takes to do that. Here we go. You guys get to know me. This is my very first real estate deal. I was 22 years old when I bought this property. It was my very first flip I ever did. I buy, fix, and sell properties. I purchased it for $220,000. I rehabbed it for $30,000 and closed it. It was under 90 days, and I made a profit of $32,000. Just out of curiosity, how many buy, fix, and sell people do we have in the room? About half the room. How many buy, fix, and hold do we have? About half the room. All right. How many have no idea what's going on right now in real estate? All right. We're all here. All right, so everybody's here. So I got out of college, and I jumped into real estate. I bought this property right in the heyday. I watched all the TV shows and said, my God, that looks easy. I think I can do that. And so I did it, and in under 90 days, I made $32,000. I come from a family of teachers. My mom's a teacher, my dad's a teacher, my aunts are teachers, uncles are teachers. And so for us, this was a pretty big deal for the whole family, really, when they saw how much I made and how fast I made. So I said, well, my God, if I can do one, surely I can do more than that. And so I began to build a business in real estate in 2003 time frame. I started doing 1 house a month, 2, 3, 4. Got to about 5 houses per month that I was doing. I had 32 full-time employees. We were buy, fixing, and selling in Atlanta, Georgia. East Atlanta Village is where we were. I had an average profit about $55,000 per deal. We were doing a lot of almost buy, completely demolish, and then come in and rebuild it. I did 1 house. We had a flip in Atlanta, Alpharetta, Georgia, actually. And I made $272,000 on 1 deal that we did, a 10-bedroom, 12-bathroom house in Atlanta. And I, at the age of 24, was living a very, very fun life. I will show you how I was living my life. That was me, living a very good life. I bought a house with an elevator in it. I had the Range Rovers and the high-dollar lease cars at a very young age in my life. And I thought things were going to go great from here on out. And I said, my God, I'll just keep doing this, and I'll always make money, and there shouldn't be anything happens to this plan or formula that I have right now. But behind the scenes, there was something going on here before it was going on in Atlanta. I actually had a lot of friends in California, in the San Francisco area. And so they would call me and say, my God, Andrew, you got to watch out for this bubble that's coming. And I always say, you guys are fools, man. That's the West Coast stuff, okay? This isn't, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, where houses are $250. That's not going to happen to us. And so I kept plowing away in it. And in 2007, 2008 time frame, my bubble burst, and I got stuck with a whole lot of real estate, highly leveraged out. I got stuck with 14 properties that were buy, fix, and sell, all courtesy of my private lenders who did very little background checks, right? and none of them knew. I had like 6 different private lenders, all hard money lenders, all lending money at the same time. $200,000 a loan, about $2,000 per loan that I had, about $28,000 a month worth of outgo that I had. I cut my payroll down to about $10,000 a month, and I was sitting on about $38,000 a month before I paid any of my personal bills. And my savings account that I had was draining very, very quickly, especially because I had spent so much money on all the fun things. I took 14 vacations in a 12-month period when life was good, and I started highly regretting things at a very, very fast amount of speed when this was going on. But it's really not that funny. I don't know who was laughing, but it's not that funny. I had a condo in Maui, and so my wife at the time, we said, you know, obviously she knew things were happening. Okay. She did not work in the company, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out when you leave a house, $1 million house with an elevator, and you move into a rental property, okay, things are going on financially in your life, okay? And you turn in your Range Rovers and your leases, and you get like a Ford Taurus car, okay? So some light bulbs are going off in our head. We take off to Maui during this time, though, and with a couple of friends and had to go down to Maui and get back from Maui. And I knew that this was the end. I had hard money lenders calling me. I had investors calling me. I knew this is it. I'm facing foreclosure, bankruptcy, and death, basically. And so we take off. My family goes to Hilton Head. This is the end of the story here. And then I'm done. We can go to lunch. Now, my family goes to Hilton every year for vacation, so we take off to Hilton Head. My wife comes to me. She says, "Hey, I just spent 10 days in Maui. If it's okay with you, I would rather stay here and get caught up with my work so that I can, get caught up while you guys are only going for 3 days." And so me being a young husband, I said, "Hey, it sounds great to me. It's more golf, more beach, and less responsibility, so feel free to stay home." And she did. So I go down there on Wednesday, and I was down there Wednesday night. We called her to say love you, good night. Thursday morning we talk and chit-chat, and Thursday night we talk and love you, good night. We scheduled a date. I come home on Friday evening. I'm leaving Friday about 11 a.m. with my father, and so me and him are coming back by ourselves. And so Friday we scheduled a date at a steakhouse, get a dinner and a movie ready to go. For Friday night, that was Thursday night. Thursday morning, I get a phone call. I don't talk to her. I get a phone call from my assistant. His name's Josh. And he says, "Andrew, I'm over at your property, and your internet's down." I said, "Well, Josh, my friend, I am sitting on a beach right now. I haven't been home in 72 hours. I don't know what's wrong with the internet." And he says, I said, "Why don't you go up to, why don't you fix it?" And he says, "Well, your wireless router is missing. I don't have your router." And I said, "Again, Josh, I have no idea where my router is. I am on a beach." And I said, "Why don't you go up to my wife's office?" And he says, "Yep, I'm standing at your wife's door right now." And I said, "Well, is it there?" And he says, "Well, the router's not there, and her desk isn't here, and her furniture's not here, and..." It's not that funny. I mean, this is real life. Okay? This isn't a made-up story. Brutal. So I say, "Josh, listen." I said, "Buddy," I said, "I just talked about." I said, "We have a date scheduled. We have reservations, actually." I said, "This is a practical joke." And I said, "What we'll do," I said, "Now we need to spin this story so that I can get home in a couple hours. We will pull this practical joke and we will win this practical war." And by that time, his voice began to change, and he says, "Andrew, I don't think that's what's going on here." I think he was a little bit frustrated from me not sort of picking up the clues that he was laying down repeatedly. And he says, your living room furniture's gone, your dining room furniture's gone, your kitchen's gone, even your outdoor furniture's gone. And about that time, I realized, well, this is real life. And so I jumped back out of the thing that I ran up to the hotel. My dad hit the road, and I was headed home and trying to make contact and figure out what to do here. As I'm leaving, my father leans over to me. I'm in the passenger seat. He says, "Have you checked your bank accounts yet?" And I said, "Dad, listen." I said, "That's not what this is about." I said, "We just went to Maui." I said, "We haven't even talked about separation or divorce." And that's not what this is about. I said, sort of still in disbelief, if you will. As I'm telling my father that, he's pulling into a Bank of America, actually, into the ATM machine. And I pull out my debit card, hand it to my father. And about that time, let me rewind the story. That was Friday. Let me rewind it to Tuesday. I left on Wednesday to go to Hilton. And Tuesday, my wife comes to me and she says, "Andrew, I know that you have cut a lot of your staff and you're down to about 2 or 3 people." And she said, "I'm a certified bookkeeper. And I did bookkeeping for a large company in California, actually, West California." And she says, "I would, if it'd be okay with you," she said, "I will come in and take over your bookkeeping for you and help you out doing your books." And I said, "What a wonderful lady you are. I will allow you to do that." And so on Tuesday, she worked on our books. Wednesday morning, she comes to me and she says, "Andrew, I got all your bills." And it was literally a stack like that. And she said, "I just don't know how much money you have right now," because I have about 5 different accounts, and she wasn't on any of them. And she said, why don't we condense all the accounts into one account? We're not buying any more houses. And she said, we'll be able to watch and see how much money we have and how much money is outgo and income and sort of fight our way through this. I said, that sounds like a really good idea, so we went and did it Wednesday morning. Before I left Wednesday, we were at the banks at about 9 o'clock. Went to about 5 different local banks, wired all the funds into one account. And now, flashback, here I am sitting in my father's car. I pull out my debit card, hand it to my dad, and say, oh, in my mind, say, oh crap, this is not going to be good. And I hit view balance on that account there, and $124.05 popped up on my ATM machine there. And a lot of people say, well, why $124.05? And I said, well, the only thing I know is that on Monday, her car insurance came out of $99, and so she left a little bit of money in there to pay her car insurance bill there. I take off, I head back home, and I get home, I spend all night looking for her. And I had at the time I had a roll-off dumpster business. We were doing so much major construction. I bought actually a company that did roll-off dumpsters for all the construction and building we were doing. It's the only thing I had that was making us some money at the time, okay? And we ran it 18 hours a day, 2 different drivers, non-stop. We ran this truck here. Friday night, this is when all this was going down. Saturday morning, I get a phone call about 10 a.m. from my driver who was out dropping off some dumpsters there. And he says, Andrew, I jump out of bed, I was asleep. And he says, I need you to stop by. I need you to wake up, listen to me. He's like, I know your wife, you got that thing going on. I know you lost your company and things were bad. But I need you to come over here to Hutchinson Road because on Hutchinson Road, I just flipped your dump truck for you. And I need you to come over. No one's injured, but I need you to come over here and get everything out. There's debris, construction everywhere. That was Saturday morning. And so I ran over there and helped clean it up. And at that moment, I consider myself at rock bottom. Again, not that funny. I had no money, no company, no job, no wife, no income, no life, no car, and I was living in my parents' basement. I moved out of that rental house on that weekend. We packed everything up, what was left, and I moved into my parents' basement. Now I tell a story for 2 reasons. I'm going to start teaching in real estate.
You had nothing holding you back, did you?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock now, right? And lost my credit, lost everything, and I tell a story for 2 reasons. Number one, it's probably the most important reason, is because I have a burning hatred for my wife, and I like to tell the story as much as possible to get it out. The real reason I tell the story is one main thing. This guy's taking a picture. It was so bad, you're going to take a picture of my life, right? Taking pictures. I've never had it happen before, right? This guy's a complete loser. Look at him. I can't wait to see that on Facebook, right? This is going to be there. But I tell you this. Look, in real estate, here's the great thing about it. It doesn't matter where you start from. You can start from anywhere you want to start from. The people in the back are shaking their heads. You're in real estate. You can make money in real estate, in real estate, no matter where you start from. Okay, so it doesn't matter. There's probably some millionaires sitting here, and there's probably some people that are very similar to this right here, and thought, hey, I know exactly what you're talking about right there. That's about where I'm at right now. No hand raising right now. No testifying. That's not church yet. So this is where I was at rock bottom, right? So let's keep moving ahead here. We'll start talking on real estate. If you look ahead 5 years later, that was about 2007, 2008, which brings us into current time. 5 years later, right now, we are doing 38 buy, fix, and sell houses at the exact same time. I got a staff of about 22 people for the education side and the investing side. We have unlimited funding for our houses. We'll do about 80 to 100 flips this year in the Chicagoland area. That's where we're based out of. We do flips in Chicago and Indiana. There's a little bit of the investing side. We're author. I actually got 4 books that are getting written right now. This is called The Boom After the Bubble. Sort of talks about the current marketplace that we're in right now. We are a full-time educator. I speak about 40 to 45 times a year across the nation teaching what we do. And that's the biggest thing that we'll teach today is I'm going to teach you what we do and how we rebuilt and the steps that we took to rebuild. And then lastly, of course, we're an educator. I do one-on-one coaching for about 12 people, one per month. I do a little bit of one-on-one coaching for. So all that happened within 5 years. We went from where we were at completely rock bottom to probably double where I was. More importantly is probably the cash flow side, which I'll talk a little bit about as well today, is the cash flow, probably the most important thing. So here's the question. What is the plan? Leave your job at 1 year, retire in 5. What if we could generate over $10,000 a month in monthly cash flow within 5 years? Because saying this and then defining is 2 different things. So I'm going to define what this means to retire in 5 years. I'm going to show you today how we generate over $10,000 in monthly cash flow within 5 years. What if we can show you how to own in 5 years? You can own over $1 million of free and clear real estate. And then lastly is what if you could show you how to do some or all of this in tax-free or tax-deferred accounts I will not talk a lot about this. It's really my business partner that talks a lot about the tax, the first step. So we're going to cover these two things right here. $10,000 in cash flow. And if you understand that at the end of the day, real estate is only really about one thing, right? It's really at the end of the day, you can do whatever tactic you want to do. Short sale, lease option, wholesale, buy, fix, and sell. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, real estate is based off of one thing, and that's cash flow. So we're going to walk through how we built our cash flow industry that we're in right now. Here we go. Leave your job in 1 year, retire in 5. So I'm going to go sort of through a step-by-step, year-by-year process of sort of what I did, the houses that I bought, when I bought the houses, and what I did to the houses to sort of equal the $10,000 a month cash flow. Again, this is just at a bird's eye view. Once we go through this, it'll be about 6 or 7 slides here. Then I'm going to go back and start teaching the concepts and the principles of the plan that I did in my personal life. Here we go. You're going to see a couple different houses. When we show this on the board here, you're going to see some red houses that look like this. Anytime you see a red house, it indicates that it's a flip and that it equals about $30,000 in profit. Now, that's just our numbers that we hit in Chicago. For every flip that we do, we make about $30,000 per flip. So a red house equals a flip. Not 30, what do you want to say? Okay, equals a flip, right? So you see a red house, think about it as a flip. Linda, I'm probably going to use a little more lights off because once I start showing pictures, it's going to go even a little harder. You see a blue house, which indicates it's a rental property. A blue house, there we go. Just don't fall asleep on me, okay? If you do, I'm going to have this guy with the bright shirt walk around the room the entire time as a glow stick so you can wake up. Now, blue house indicates rental properties. $65,000 purchase price with a cash of about $700 a month. Now, I understand that in the gorgeous city of Santa Barbara, you're probably not going to buy a rental property for $65,000. Hence the reason I believe Linda does bus tours all across the nation where you can buy properties at $65,000 a piece, okay, if you want to. I actually buy them a little bit cheaper than that. But that was just an average that was given to us by a couple different magazine companies of how much it costs nationwide. All right, here we go. Look to year 1. We're going to go through 5 years. I'm going to show you from where I was in my parents' basement, sort of the steps and the processes that I took. Again, bird's eye view, and then we'll go through it. All right, year 1, when I started off, when I got back into it, I did 3 red houses. And a red house is a flip. Okay, so I made, how much did I make per house that I did? About $30,000 per house that I did. At the end of that year, I bought 1 blue house, and a blue house is a rental property, so I bought 1 blue house at the end of the first year. I bought, fixed, and sold 3 red houses, or flips, and I bought 1 rental property. So we'll look at it side by side here. Understand these are the only 2 things that matter in real estate, is what is your cash flow and what is your equity. That is it. Nothing else really matters when it comes to real estate. My monthly cash flow at the end of year 1 was $700, and my equity was about $65,000 in this rental property. Saying that, I would say this, traveling the nation, teaching as much as we teach. If all you did was buy 1 of these, oh crap, sorry. If you just bought 1 of those for $65,000 and you own 1 property free and clear, okay, that would put you, as far as the associations and everything we work with, that would put you to the top percentile of real estate investors that inside of what I call our circle, our bubble. The majority of real estate investors never ever get to the point of owning 1 property free and clear, okay? And again, I'm for leverage, I'm not against leverage, but what I'm saying is that is the end game, is to own the property free and clear, because that is where the cash flow will start generating from when you own it free and clear. And it's okay to leverage at the beginning, but that is the end game. Okay, so just if you got there, you would be at a higher level than most people. Now, let's go look at year 2. In year 2, and this is important when it comes to business development, business growth, the mistake I made the first time. When it comes to building this business in real estate, you have to build it with like organic growth, or growth that is sustainable is what you have to do. When I built it the first time, I exploded out of the gate, and I built it too fast. So what I want to do, what I did the second time was I built it a little bit slower. So I said, okay, if I did 3 last year, I'm going to start there. That will always be my starting point of where I left off the year before. So this year, in year 2, I did 6 buy, fix, and sell properties, and I bought 1 property from last year, and then another property this year. So in year 2, I bought 2 blue houses, which is 2 rental properties. I'm going to speed up here, and then we're going to hit it from with concepts and tactics. Now, year 3, I did the same thing. I started off where I was. I added 2 more flips to my rental property, or to my flips. I added 1 more rental property that year, so that gave me 3 that year that I bought. Year 4, I did exactly where I started last year, except for I added 1 more property to the portfolio, and I added another rental property that year. That gave me 4 that year, and then last year, year 5. And I started off, I added 1 more flip to it, and added 1 more rental property. That gave about 500 properties into the business. Look at it side by side, and then we're going to start going through this. You look at year 1 to year 5. Year 1 was $700 a month cash flow, $65,000 a month in equity, $2,100 in cash flow. Year 3 has about $4,200 in cash flow, $400,000 in equity. Year 4 is at $7,000, and year 5 I was at $10,500, and I was over $1 million in free and clear real estate. Now here's the deal. truth be told, I actually did a lot faster than 5 years. Because once the machine was built and once the machine was there producing, it is actually astonishing how fast you can build wealth in real estate. Really, if you look at our business model, and again, everything that we do in real estate is built off of a business model. It's not built off of a deal and then another deal and another deal. I don't chase deals, okay? So in our business model now, if you really stop and think about it, we basically have like an assembly line for the buy, fix, and sales. And we basically stay on one side down here, and I funnel, or the team funnels properties into an assembly line. And the assembly line, the properties go through certain systems and phases inside the assembly line. At the end of the assembly line, the product or the house is done, and the product is sold. As you build a real estate business, that's what you're really building. Most investors struggle with growing because they always are struggling at running to the next house or looking for the next deal instead of stepping back and saying, okay, you know what, if I'm going to do this, why don't I do it as a business model that I can control and manage? Does that make sense? I'll put it this way as well. We don't focus on the project. A lot of investors, I don't know how many newbies or beginners we have here, but a lot of investors, they get into real estate, they focus on the project or the house, okay? They focus on one house. The difference is we focus on the process. And that's where my real growth began as a real estate investor, is I focus on the process. Because when you focus on the project or a house, okay, there's a big difference between focus on the process. Because the process, if you can understand or mastermind the process, what I mean by the process is, when you buy and sell property, there's a lot of decisions and questions that have to be answered. That house is going to go through certain phases and stages. And if you don't know where that house is going, you sure as hell don't know the answers to those questions. Does that make sense? You have to understand the process of where that house is about to flow through before you can ever focus on a project, all right? If you look at McDonald's for a second, when I go to McDonald's and I order a organic, all beef, double cheeseburger, okay? You know what I'm talking about? No, because they don't sell them, right? I go to McDonald's and I order the disgustingly double cheeseburger that Rebecca, my fiance, always tells me not to order. I order a double cheeseburger. Here's the point. When you become an employee at McDonald's, do they teach you the ingredients of what the hamburger is, or do they teach you the system of what you're going to do? You're going to take this bun, and this patty, and then this piece of cheese, and this pickle, and this, and this, and this, and you're going to wrap it up and send it out. They teach you the system or the process of what that double cheeseburger is about to go through, so that can end, on the inside, you can give it to me, I can gain 20 pounds, and then I can move on with life, right? Same concept of real estate. Focus on the process first. Once you understand and can control the process of where the house is going to go through, you can feed as many projects or houses as you want to down the assembly line. All right? Let me move on. We'll keep coming back to that point a little bit later. All right, so can we all agree that the plan that I just showed you is not a complicated plan? Here's what I mean by that. I did not show you some high-level MBA, Harvard graduate with pie charts and spreadsheets of a strategy or a plan in real estate. I really, if you think about it, showed you a picture of Monopoly, right? I showed you some red houses and some blue houses, right? You buy some houses, you buy some rental properties. It's not that complicated of a plan, all right? So if it's not that complicated of a plan, per se, so if it's not that complicated, why aren't more people doing it? More importantly, why aren't you doing it? What is it that holds us back as investors? We're all in the room here to become investors and to grow your business and to build more real estate. So what is it that holds you back from the high level of investing, where you're doing multiple properties and you're creating a massive amount of wealth? Anybody know? Fear? Fear is a very, very important one. I heard someone else say the number 2 reason. Money. That stinking good for nothing money I can't get a hold of, right? I got to have money to make money in real estate, okay? So you got fear, you got money. There's one more that's always an answer. Anybody know what that one is?
Experience.
Knowledge. There it is. Those are your 3 things, okay? To really grow this business. If you're sitting there today and you say, okay, I'm trying to build this business, I'm trying to create real wealth in real estate, okay? Because again, I'm going to explain to you, we are not a company that teaches you how to do a house, okay? We're going to teach you how to build a business in real estate. That we can teach you. So there's 3 things you got to have. Number 1, you got to have knowledge to make that work. You have to understand this process, or the process that we're talking about. You have to understand that like the back of your hand, okay? Number 2 is fear. Okay, not in any order here, but fear. Fear paralyzes a lot of people from taking action. And the 3rd is money. You gotta have money, okay? So if you can solve those 3 things, then in theory, you could start building your company, right? Because you would have the knowledge, you wouldn't be afraid. And let me go back and explain this point to you. When it comes to fear, what is it that when we say that, and everybody says it, so it's not just you, but everybody says it's fear. Fear holds me back. What are we really saying at that point? What is causing that fear?
Failure.
Anyone know? Failure?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. It really, fear goes underneath knowledge. Because put it to you this way. Whatever your current job is, whatever your job that you're currently doing is, that you're successful at, okay? I don't care what if it's selling cell phones to AT&T, okay? You're not afraid of that job, of fear of that job. Why are you not afraid of that position that you're at? Because you fully understand what you're going to do every single day you wake up. You understand the process, you understand what you're going to do, and because you understand it, you're not afraid of it. Fear is caused because you don't understand the process. That's where the fear drives in real estate. I don't know if I buy this house, I have no idea where this house is about to go. To give you an example, we have a project manager and superintendent. I went to our project managers, I bought them a clicker and said, okay, every time that you have to make a decision on this property, I want you to click it. And I want to know, on average, how many decisions you have to make at the end of a buy, fix, and sell property. Do you know how many times he clicked it? In one transaction. And we did this about 10 times to get the average here. One transaction of buy, fix, and sell. You know how many decisions he had to make? It was just over 2,000. 2,000 decisions. So fear is caused because I do not know, A, the questions that are about to come my way, and if I don't know the questions, I surely don't know the answers. What does that have to do with? That has to do with the knowledge of understanding the process. Once you can master the process, it's the fear goes away because the knowledge takes care of it. Okay? So really there's two things. It's knowledge that you need, and then it's money that you need. Okay? I'll cover money, and where I cover money right now. I can teach, in our events, we show how to raise capital funds and so forth and so on. We teach the credibility package, etc. But I do better than that, okay? And I think there's a video here that shows a little bit about this in a little bit. At our, we hold 4-day events. At our 4-day events, I bring in our private investors. Scott, he just stepped up. Scott in the back, we'll be teaching a little bit later. He knows a lot of our private investors, right? I've raised, we have literally unlimited funding, okay? Funding, okay? No questions asked. I mean text message, like you text in a house and say, hey, do you want this? The answer is yes. So what we do is we said, well, why don't we bring our private investors into our events, and why don't we let the private investors fund the students of financial momentum? Because there's two things that hold you back, knowledge and money. So if we can provide the financing for you, now it's not me, let me be very clear, it's not me providing it, okay? I borrow the money from the private investors as well. These are my private investors that I bring in that lend to our students, okay? They do anything from private funds to also joint ventures. So if you don't put any money into the deal, you can do a joint venture and not put a dime of property. The last event we just had in DC about about a month ago, Caleb from Iowa, he walked out with $1 million funding from our private investors. We bring them into the room and let you talk to all of them, all right? So there's two things, knowledge and fear. Let's keep going here. Anytime you have a question, feel free to jump in and ask. Hopefully I will answer it. Now, fear and knowledge is the thing that we're talking about here. Here's the thing that we say that it really comes down to when it comes to why people struggle in real estate is because, number one, they don't have a strategy, and number two, they don't have systems, and therefore you'll never have success. You have to have those two things to build a business in real estate. You have to have a strategy. Now, here's a tricky one. Majority of people in real estate don't even know where they're headed in real estate. They don't have a clear definition plan of I'm getting into real estate, and this is my end goal in real estate. So therefore, if I have my starting point, if you will, and a finish line in real estate, then I can use the systems or the processes to get me from point A to point B. Most investors never hit the time to even figure out where they're actually headed in real estate. And if you don't know where you're headed, there's no way to ever get there. You have to know this piece. Majority of all investors watch it on TV, see this concept, late night commercial, and say, I'm going to get into real estate. My neighbor does, my brother does, I think I can do this too. They jump into real estate. They make the biggest financial decision they've ever made without any overall knowledge of where they're really headed in real estate. Okay? So number one, you gotta have a strategy. Number two, you have to have systems. And this applies not just in real estate, but in any business. You go back to McDonald's. Why is McDonald's successful? Because I can go to California McDonald's or I can go to Atlanta, Georgia McDonald's. I'm going to get the same fresh burger, right? I'm going to get the same double cheeseburger. Why? Because they have a strategy. They know exactly what they're doing in the business model, and they have the systems to produce that. All right? Let's keep moving here. All right, here we go. These are the three components of financial minimum, the three steps that I used when I built my business, the real estate business. These are the exact three steps that I used. Okay, here they are. Number one, I created change. Number two, I created capital. And number three, I created cash flow. Again, cash flow is always the end game. I created change, and then I created capital, and then I created cash flow. Let's go through what each of these are and how they apply into your business model. Number one, we'll create change. Okay, this is the very first thing, create change. There's three components or three steps when we create change: mindset, map, and mentorship. Look at mindset. Becoming a real estate business owner. So I've been talking about this morning. Most people get into real estate and they try to do a deal, and they live deal by deal by deal. And look, if you live or you invest in deal, and then you get done with it, and you run over here and try to find another deal, and you get done with that, and you run over here and try to find another deal, what does that sound very familiar like? What does that sound similar to? You live deal by deal by deal. It's how you live. That also sounds very familiar from paycheck by paycheck by paycheck, right? And what happens when you stop working your job where you were working paycheck by paycheck? What happens to your paycheck? It stops, right? Well, if you live deal by deal by deal, what happens when you stop working?
Money stops.
The money stops. It's the same concept. And most investors get into this business and say, I'm going to go deal by deal. And then they get burnt out because they say, wait a second, this is weird because I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm getting a lot of the same results as I was living paycheck by paycheck. I'm not building wealth. I'm just creating some money so I can pay my bills with it, okay? Plus, I have a lot of risk and leverage into it. So number one, it goes back to a business owner. I'll skip that point and come back later. MAP is creating a real estate business plan. I'll give you a quick definition here. Gene, is that your name? Or is your name USAROI?
USA.
Okay, USAROI. That's an incredible name. Okay. So Gene, and let's say that Samuel, let's say you're a banker and you are trying to start a Subway franchise, right? A small business, okay? And you're a banker and you loan small business loans, okay? So you go into the bank and get a small business loan from him, right? Do you know one of the very first things that a small business loan officer is going to ask Gene here, USAROI? What's the very first top few things he's going to ask for?
Credit.
A business plan.